Hi, everyone. Welcome to episode 4 of Tribe of Trailblazers. I'm Natalya, your host, founder of Life Startup and My Life Quest. And today's guest, Aurélie Guiot, she is founder of Auré Yoga and Le Studio in Austria. Welcome, Aurélie.
Thank you so much for having me, Natalia. It's really a pleasure to catch up and to be able to share this big change in my life. And if it can inspire others, where do you want me to start?
Can we just briefly go through your journey?
My
From
journey.
A to B, so where you were and where you're now.
Okay. So I started my career very traditional way, let's say, a bit like what society expects from you. I studied food science and technology in a prestigious engineering school in France. And then I immediately jumped into the corporate world. I always wanted to work in research and development, and I wanted to work in a big international company. And I started my career in Germany for one of those big food companies. And I think that's how you imagine a bit a successful career when you start. That I was climbing the ladder fast, having responsibility, team to manage, leadership positions. So 11 years in the same company, I started to feel like, okay, I'm not growing anymore. I'm a bit bored. Financially was really beyond what I would have expected when I started my career. But actually, I like to describe it as a golden cage. My ego was happy. And what happened is that a startup called me, a food tech startup, and they triggered my curiosity. And just for fun, I participated in the recruitment process. And I don't know, it created a bit this excitement I had lost in my everyday work. And I decided to move to the startup and take the leap. For sure, not earning as much money as before, but I was really craving for more impact, more learnings that I had lost. After 2 years in this startup, I learned a lot, but I was not aligned with the way they wanted to continue. And I was then saying, okay, then it's not for me anymore. Let's leave. And it was the first time I was leaving without having another job in my pocket. And this is when I decided to do a break. I had suddenly time, and I have to say I was high on time, and I wanted really to take this break to think about what do I want to do next. I was not sure I want to go back to corporate. Also, when I left a bit with this rebel mindset, I was like, maybe I want to work for myself and start my own company. So I left and went to Bali, and it was really nice to take 1 month there to think, practice yoga, meet like-minded people. That's when I met you. I'm really grateful for all those people I met who took this step out of their comfort zone and started their own business, because for me they showed me it's possible, because all my references till that point were the people who did all their career in those big companies. There was a little voice in me which was telling me, you need to explore something else. Why not deepening my knowledge in yoga? Coming back from Bali, I decided to leave Barcelona and invest in teacher training and go to India. So it can feel overwhelming, no? That, from one day you're super trapped in the company and the limitation of this job. And then from one day to another, you can do whatever you want when you want. Sounds cool, but scary at the beginning. So for me, I wanted to give me time to open, but then starting to narrow the options so that I can move into action, which was really something I wanted, and not just follow the model of the past Aurélie or what my parents wanted. Be careful of your loved ones who give you advice. I always say my mother, if I want to know all the risk about moving into a new situation, I call my mother and she will remind me those things. And I learned that she's just projecting her own fears.
When you're changing your identity, you should stop asking for advice from friends and family, because they like you where you are and for who you are. And if you start changing, it is a threat to the status quo, and it's tricky. So it takes a while to build a new tribe, and the old tribe, it doesn't fit anymore. And so there's this valley of loneliness where you just have to walk alone until you meet your new tribe, until you become that person to fit into the new tribe, because there's that space in between. I would like to talk a little bit more about the golden cage and the ego topic, and I completely relate. I was wildly successful back in London. and I had great salary, amazing clients, working for Fortune 500 CEOs, was like top of my career, flying Hong Kong, Berlin, you name it, every week. It was amazing. I wouldn't deny that for me, that what allowed me to keep going with my startup for 5 years now and explore all of these passions. And also all of the skills that I've learned in corporate, right? Like I wouldn't be able to do what I'm doing now. So it's a great thing. It's just where do you go from there if it stops serving you at some point?
Yeah, I totally agree with that. That I also feel that I am really much more equipped to embrace this, own business. And okay, it's yoga, but it's a business. And I think that's for me a double work. I need to know how to teach yoga, but I need to know how to run a business. And I think this part of running a business, I learned so much in my past positions. What I miss is working as a team, but again, you can recreate it just in a different way. And by the way, you can then choose your team. So in the corporate, usually you're given a team and you cannot choose always who you work with. And also the financial part, I don't need anymore the salaries I used to have because my way of living is costing a lot less money.
Very interesting point that when you work in corporate, you have this frame of reference. But if you change your lifestyle, you change your location. Let's say you've lived in Barcelona, now you live in rural Austria. Same, I'm in London currently, like right now I'm in Vietnam. Very different story. And on top of that, I don't need to buy expensive clothes to go to the office. I don't need to pay for the tube. I don't need to buy coffee on the way to the office. Somehow you still have that kind of idea of the salary, and if you're not making, so it calls for a new kind of business case, almost like a new financial life model,
a life business case, a life case. Yeah, it's hard because somehow I still have this reference number of my last salaries coming every month. Look, I was about to say it, but this is the way I think. That's what I'm worth. And I know that if I would apply to a corporate, I would ask at least this salary because Aurélie is worth this amount of money to be paid every month. But it's stupid because this number doesn't change whatever I do during the day. And as we said, whatever my everyday life costs. So it's really a mind reprogramming process that I need to go through to really almost forget this number and redefine a new reference. And also I have to say the last years, my partner living with me in Barcelona was himself doing a career transition. So my salary was covering all our needs for both of us. And now in Austria he's working. So it's a bit like now it's my turn to play and take some risk. Okay, we talked about the people who, will scare you and tell you all the risks, but to be with a partner or friends who encourage you on this path and tell you, no, it's great what you're doing, even though if they believe a bit more than yourself that it's worth it.
You can proactively see your friends and family, hey, I need you to support me and believe in me and never question me and never doubt me. And I need you to not scare me or anything like that. And maybe even be vulnerable and open about how you feel. And hey, it is scary. It is scary what I'm doing. But actually, I remember when I made a move 5 years ago, I was so scared people would judge because I was at the top of my career. I was like the star of the team, and I thought that people would like not understand why I'm leaving right now. But actually, all I heard from everyone was how brave I was. And I was like, wait, what? I think it's like most people, like secretly, they kind of also want to pursue, the things that they want to do, and at least give it a go. Because I think that the most important thing, even if you, so to say, fail, whoever defines the failure and success, but let's say you tried yoga, you don't feel happy after 5 years because you don't make the same amount of money. Just go back to, doing what you were doing, and you've tried. At least you've tried.
Exactly.
Actually, and this is also one of the best advice I got from my friend George. He said, hey, Natalya, it's not an irreversible decision. You can always come back to consulting. And he was so right.
I feel so comfortable to sell myself again if I need to. That's not my plan right now to come back to corporate, but it's like I will be so rich from this experience.
I want to talk about the definition of success. Can you talk a little bit about the traditional things that people value? Why they value? Why do you think that's limiting? And what do you think would be a better way of thinking about success?
I think so. The traditional way, which is still very present and was my way to measure success, is definitely, the salary, as we said, the title. And I see it in some countries even stronger than others. In Germany, in Austria, they love putting that title together with their name. So it really becomes their identity also on their ID card. And I thought that climbing the ladder will help me to have more impact and influence. Well, it does, but there is always something above. So it's a bit an illusion, stuff like this. So this is the traditional way.
What do you think? Why do you think this way of measuring success is limiting?
It's giving you a certain hierarchical power, but which I think is less and less impactful. It's limiting because then you can feel trapped that I reached something. And then you start being there and you're afraid to lose this title, but still this title is not giving you the superpowers you were imagining, and it becomes your identity. And I have to say this story that last year when I moved to this new country and people were asking my name, first question, second question, where I'm from. Third question, what do you do as a job? Yeah, always. And you have this feeling how people put you in a box. It was really hard for me to say I'm yoga teacher. What happened is that I said yoga teacher, and then I was immediately completing by, and before I worked in big companies, international.
Exactly the same thing. And you know what? I did it for about 4 years.
Okay,
4
I'm
years.
still there.
I wanted to
I'm getting
justify
better.
myself. I'm doing yoga. I'm a yoga teacher. I'm a coach now. But I was legit.
Because I was validated by the system as a team manager or whatever.
Gold. This is gold. This is gold. It takes time. Does it feel easier now, or it's still kind of?
It's a bit easier because I think I started to really measure my success in another way. And now I'm deeply proud of what I'm doing. Before I was like in this, what you said before, not this transition phase where you're not yet the new thing, but you're still a bit attached to the old one. And also I started reflecting on what is this new job giving me as benefits. It gives me time. It gives me flexibility to decide on my own about, how I want to work, when I want to work, with who I want to work. I have a much healthier lifestyle in the sense that I cook a lot and I take time to eat. It sounds like little things, but I like this thing. There are like bowls, and there is one health, relationship, and the job bowl is the one which can jump back. It never breaks. You can always go back to a job, but health, relationships, the things that usually people care the most about, they are not,
They say they do.
Yeah, exactly. So that's why for me our body and our way of living is impacting us so much. And for me, it's actually gold, as you said, to have this time and quality of life.
This is very powerful. I know that you've worked with a coach when you were figuring out your sort of next steps. How do you pick a coach? How do you know it's your coach? And also what you got out of this relationship. What were the benefits?
I decided to take the coach just before going full on the yoga business. I felt a bit alone, and I met someone. She had created her own business, and for me, it was inspiring to know that she seemed that she had been through this. Her story felt inspiring. Why do you take a coach? You can coach the coach. You're the most organized person I know. You have worked years in project management. I was like, yeah, of course, I don't need a coach to help me to do planning. Maybe some people do, but that's the thing. So before taking or choosing a coach, know what you expect from this coach. And in the process, be able to coach your coach if you need to, because the coach can help you with the knowledge, but you need to know what you need to get. And at some point, I gave feedback to my coach because indeed she was going in this direction of helping me. But what she brought me is some tools about, overcoming limiting belief, because I think I realized that what was really on my way to make this business a success was, that I was not fully believing it was possible. And I think that's when I met her, she seemed to believe I have the potential to do it. She seemed to believe as much or more than me that I could do it. And third, she had tools.
So when you're picking the right coach, the 3 things that you're looking for is, first of all, they have to be your biggest cheerleader. They have to root for you and really believe in you before you start believing in yourself. Then second thing, they have been through what you're trying to achieve. And there's a few steps ahead of you so you can actually learn from them and move faster. And three, they have the right tools to bring rigor into the process.
I don't want to suffer and take the risk to give up too early just because I know the beginning will be overwhelming. So to have someone on my side, very basic things that, or celebrate successes, little successes along the way. And if you feel the coach is not bringing you anymore what you give feedback and ask more because could you help me on this, I don't need.
That's absolutely true. I think any relationship, coaching relationship is a two-way relationship. And I have some clients who come and they take with a full spoon, because they take that responsibility for their own journey and they benefit so much. And obviously, if you're not coming with that mindset, you're not going to benefit nearly as much. All right. Any final kind of piece of advice, wisdom?
Just do the first step in this direction and allow yourself to feel uncomfortable. You don't need to have it all figured out. You don't need to have the perfect plan. Just go in this direction and it will start unfolding.
Thank you. This is beautiful. Folks, you don't need to have it all figured out. All you need to do is have this next lily pad to jump on. Everything else will unfold in due time. Aurélie, thank you so much for sharing your beautiful journey and so much wisdom. For people who want to follow Aurélie, we will share links in the description of this episode. Please connect with her on LinkedIn. And if you're ever in Austria, she is running retreats and you should also absolutely visit her yoga studio. Where can people find you, Aurélie?
Physically, they can find me in Vorarlberg, this far west Austria. So if you are visiting or if you live like in Switzerland, Germany, we are neighbors. So come visit the studio. I do weekend events and retreats. So I think there is something for you there and come practice yoga with me.
Thank you so much. Folks, thank you for being with us. Thank you for listening. If you enjoyed this episode, please, could you like it and leave a comment? And also, if you could rate this episode on Spotify, this would really help us to be discovered by more people like you, people who are paving their own unique path. And if you would like a little guidance on your journey of self-discovery and figuring out your next step, you should absolutely check out My Life Quest. It's a first ever AI-powered self-discovery game that combines the best tools from coaching, psychology, life design, all in the format of a game. And if you prefer personalized guidance, and if you like my jokes, then you should absolutely discovery call. I will also leave a link in the description to this episode. Thank you so much, and I'll see you in the next episode.